Alrighty, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names of kicking candy ass, live and living color here with you on Grande's Graveyard. Ooh yeah, happy Thursday, everybody. We're almost there, almost at the weekend, man. It has been a long ass work week. We've been busy, but man, I am so looking forward to the end of this week. I want to catch up on a little bit of sleep. This is some breaking news because I didn't even know about this until, a couple days ago. I'm actually going to be hitting the movies for the first time since the coronavirus pandemic hit us this very Saturday. I'm so looking forward to it. My good buddy, his girlfriend, as an anniversary present, gave him tickets to go see School of Rock, which is like a retro screening of it in the AMC theaters by me. So I'm actually going to finally go back to the movies. The last time I was in the movies was like early February of last year. Saw Sonic the Hedgehog on a Friday night, and then I saw The Lodge that same Sunday. So I think February the 12th was the last time I went to the fucking movies. So that means this Saturday I'll finally be back and better than ever. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're breaking the little movie kind of drought I've had, movie theater drought, if you will. Aiden Babbers in the Hazy, what's going on, good brother? Too sweet. You ready for some wrong turn discussion? I know I am. I'm pretty fucking stoked. To be honest, I feel like this is going to be an episode of two halves, if you will. This will be an episode of me gushing over the first two, and then I may just lose my sanity discussing the last few of them because, man, holy fucking shit. This is a really, this is a polarizing ass franchise because you have two that I just absolutely adore here. I mean, I have the first four on DVD. I don't have five or six. I couldn't see spending money for either one of those. Hell, I honestly regret spending money for these two, to be honest with you. But we do have the original two, which I really am a big fan of, and I'll get into why that is in just a moment here. Yeah, the first two films are amazing, says Mr. Babber. Dude, yeah, I'm a big fan, and I'm gonna go hardcore in depth because I actually double featured them last night. It's funny, usually I like to go in order when I do franchises or franchise reviews, if you will. But this time I just said, you know what? I know the shit, how like this shit ends. Why don't I like start with the shit and end with the good stuff? And like that's exactly the approach I took tonight. So I actually didn't watch these last two, or at least these first two, until last. I double featured them last night. It was a really cool double feature. I had never, I don't think ever watched these back to back. And it's actually an interesting double feature to watch back to back because this film is very much more of a polished exploitation film. You could tell it had a theatrical release. It looks very good. And then this film, man, you can tell it went straight to DVD, but in the same matter of the vein, I think it's a much bigger improvement and bigger step up because of all the things that it does different from its predecessor. I love both these movies. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of both, but I would say part two I like slightly better. But it was weird watching these back to back because it almost feels like this would be, of course your normal original, and then this would be a sequel that you'd have years and years down the road where you were trying to shake the formula up a little bit. But I don't know, this is a cool. I thought it was cool to watch this as double feature just because of the differences. Um, but yeah, with that said, we are going to be talking about, yes, I mean, I kind of blew my load a little early, I guess, but the Wrong Turn franchise, ladies and gentlemen. Not just all, granted, I can only talk about the original six because I know the Wrong Turn, the Foundation, or just Wrong Turn as it's being called in the States, came out this past Tuesday in select theaters. Unfortunately, none of those select theaters were selected by me, if you will. I couldn't really go see the film. Initially, I heard that it was going to be released on VOD on the 26th of this month, and I was like, oh cool, I'll rent it for whatever, I don't care, I'd love to watch it and review for the show. And unfortunately that didn't happen. They moved the VOD release date back to, I think, February the 26th, I believe, or February the 23rd, I think. So that's when I will be finally seeing the film. I believe it's also getting a Blu-ray DVD release that same day, so I just may pick up and buy it because I guarantee you it's probably better than parts 5 and 6. I'll definitely guarantee that. So I don't know if it's cheap enough. I will pick up the new Wrong Turn on Blue, and I will definitely review it on the channel. I just felt bad. I will give my thoughts on the new Wrong Turn. I watched the trailer, so I can give my thoughts when I get past part 6, and I'm going to do a ranking of the original 6, where I, of course, place all these movies. And It says Wrong Turn 2 is one of the best direct-to-video films ever. Same, I easily prefer 2 over the original. I agree completely. I think Wrong Turn 2 is arguably the best direct-to-DVD horror film ever. Like, I'd even like it just does so much shit right. I can't wait to get into Wrong Turn 2. But we will start at the beginning. I have a little plot synopsis ready here. We'll dive right in. We're about 5 minutes in. I got the plot synopsis here once it loads. Granted, whatever reason it's freezing and whatnot. Okay, here we go. We're good. Okay, Wrong Turn 1 synopsis. Chris and a group of 5 friends are left stranded deep in the middle of the woods after their cars collide. But now, as they venture deeper into the woods, they face an uncertain, blood curdling fate. Oh, yeah. I'm talking about Rob Schmidt's Wrong Turn. Oh, yeah. Big fan of this movie. Big fan of this movie right here. And of course, it stars one of my favorite leading ladies of all time, Miss Eliza Dushku. I know it's pronounced Dushku, but I always said Dushku. I don't know. I guess I don't know. I just like Dushku better. It sounds better to me. Dushku just, I don't know. It's a little bit. I like saying it improperly. I can't lie. But I got this little cool slipcover DVD. This was the original theatrical poster right here. And then I don't know, I kind of dig this. Her hair's a little bit different. I don't know why. Her hair's more like this in the film. But on this poster, it looks like it's a little bit more straight. I don't know. It's not definitely not like that in the film. But I've always been a pretty big fan of this movie, and I really have always been a pretty big fan of the director Rob Schmidt. Now, Rob Schmidt's one of those directors that he's sort of fallen off the face of the earth. Like I don't know what the last thing he's done, but this is definitely his biggest film to date to this day. I mean, this is 18 years ago, and this is still his biggest film. But I don't know, man. I really like the guy's style, and I've listened to several interviews with the guy, and he just seems like my cup of tea when it comes to a horror film director. And what I mean by that is he was actually asked in an interview, what is your main goal as a director when you're making a film? And Rob Schmidt actually answered, I just want to make an entertaining time for people to go to the movies, enjoy themselves, little bloobs, blood, mayhem, all that good stuff. He knew the formula. He got it. And while this is an exploitation, horror, slasher, whatever, backwoods slasher, if you want to say, that it is a mainstream movie. I do think it's a little bit polished, and I do think it really does play it safe. Whereas that's why I think I really like the sequel because this movie takes more chances, and this movie is far more gritty. I think that's why I think the true like gore hounds would prefer part two to part one. But dare I say, man, I think the atmosphere in this film and the direction is probably the best of the entire franchise. Of course, you have Eliza Dushku as your final girl lead. She's just a beautiful woman. I honestly, I feel bad for her, man. Her entire career is just sort of filled with dud after dud and flop after flop. It's actually insane. I have her filmography up here. She did. Let's see what she did. She did this movie, which is still probably her best movie. She did stuff like open graves, holy shit, open graves, if people don't know, that was a piece of shit horror movie where it was like there was a board game that you played. It was almost like Jumanji if it was a horror movie, right? So these kids, they play, and then whatever they rolled or however they died in the game, they start to die in real life. And like you think that would be good, but man, it was a total fucking piece of shit. Where like this one lady, she rolled this card where she became like an old woman, and she fucking like died because of old age and shit. Like fucking horrible. And then like randomly at the end of that movie, Eliza Dushku turned heel. Like, what the fuck, man? Really fucking strange. The Elm Street Warriors in the house. What's going on, good brother? Hope all is well with you, my man. Nah, she was awesome as Faith and of course, Faith and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But it's a shame. I feel like a lot of the stuff she was the leading role in, it barely stayed. I mean, Dollhouse, did that last more than a season? True Calling, I think that lasted like 20 episodes before it was off the air. And it's just a shame because a lot of her films after this and TV series, were trying to make her a big A-list star. They all sort of flopped. They all sort of crumbled. And I honestly don't understand why, because I think number one, Eliza Dushku is beautiful. Number two, she has a great charisma and toughness to her. She's not a very charismatic actress, but I would say that like she's very likable. She's very capable. She's strong. I like Eliza Dushku a lot as an actress. I just never could understand why she made flop after flop after flop. And it was never really because of her. It was just, I guess, the show or lack of viewership or whatever, bad choices, bad agents. I don't know. I don't know what the exact reason or cause for that was, but I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I do love Eliza Dushku, especially in this movie. Desmond Harrington, again, another guy, not too much charisma, but I think he's cool in this movie. He's pretty strong character, and I don't know, man. I'm a big fan of this entire cast. We have Jeremy Sisto in this. I believe around the same year that he did May, which is one of my favorite. I think that was maybe the year before this that they did May. May was a great fucking movie, and Jeremy Sisto's great in that, and he's wonderful in this. Manuel Chiriqui, I always fucking pronounce that wrong, but she's really good in that. This is Jeremy Sisto's girlfriend, and of course, a really cool thing about this movie that nobody ever mentions. Kevin Zegers is in this movie, and you may remember Kevin Zegers from movies like Frozen and the Dawn of the Dead remake. Him and his lady in this, I forget the actress's name. I could look at it right here, though. I got the cast up. Lindy Booth, I believe her name is. The both of them went on to be in the Dawn of the Dead remake, and they are two of the four survivors at the end of that film. So I thought that was fucking crazy that they show up. They're the first ones to be killed off in this, and then in the Dawn of the Dead remake, they survive. I wonder if the people who produced the Dawn of the Dead remake was like, we'll get those two, boom, cheap, sign them up. But man, I gotta say, I'm a pretty big fan of this movie. I think it goes at a really good pace. I like the entire cast. I like, honestly, that it's really not as over the top as some of the sequels become. It's a very subtle film, and it really does take a little bit of its time to build a nice atmosphere of the forest aesthetic. And I don't know, man. I just think it's really well done by Rob Schmidt. I think he's an awesome director. He also went on to do one of my favorite Masters of Horror episodes in Right to Die. I think that's an awesome one. He also did The Alphabet Killer, another Eliza Dushku flop, unfortunately, but she did get naked in that one, so that's a gets my stamp of approval for that. But it's also kind of a piece of shit movie. But yeah, man, I enjoy this film. They have Three Finger, you have Sawtooth, you have One Eye. They play the three cannibals in this, the inbred cannibal family, if you will. And Stan Winston, of course, legendary special effects makeup guy. He actually was the producer on this. So this film and its effects had his blessing. And I think this was a fun return to a film kind of like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, is it a complete and total ripoff? No. But I think in a lot of ways that this, and especially the sequel, Wrong Turn 2, works so much better as remakes or Texas Chainsaw Massacre films than the two Platinum Dunes ones, the 2003 remake and that '06, the beginning. I would take these two as Texas Chainsaw Massacre films way over those, because I can't stand the 2003 remake. I think it's a total piece of shit. Forever will. I think it's totally misses the point as to why Texas Chainsaw Massacre works. But I think this movie really gets it. And one of the scenes that jumps out to me is our four leads are kind of trapped in the cabin of the cannibals. And they all go to bed. A couple of their friends have been picked off. And somehow, some way, they're all trying to get out of there. And they open the door, and Desmond Harrington has to hold the door springs so it won't make noise, so the cannibals will wake up. And he's holding them, and he's trying to hold the door open. His hand is just gushing blood, and he's wincing in pain. And I don't know how they were able to do it, but man, the tension in that scene, you're just on the edge of your seat. It's so well done. As of course, at the last second, they get out and turn, and the hillbillies have awoken, and the chase is on. I just love how that whole scene pays off. It's tension filled, tension filled. The faces on our characters, the actors do a great job at selling the fear. And then I get this awesome scene where Desmond Harrington tries to sacrifice himself and create a diversion, but then Jeremy Sisto says, "Hell no, brother! I'm making a diversion too." He takes off running the other way. They start shooting at him, bow and arrows, shotguns, all this good stuff. And I think that was a really cool scene. It made everybody kind of likable. That's one of those things about this movie too. And whereas the later films, when we get there, man, I like cannot believe how unlikable some of the actors and characters are in the later films. But I liked everybody in this, even like the early on victims, like Kevin Zegers' character. I liked all the kids in this one. They were not annoying. They felt very real. They have this thing where Jeremy Sisto is getting married to Manuel Chiriqui's character. They're getting married, and he's talking about where they want to go on vacation and stuff. And there's also a really nice scene where before he creates the diversion, he comes up to her and he goes, "Listen, we're going to get married. We're going to fucking have a great life. We're going to have kids, and we're never going in the fucking woods again." And he kind of kisses her and runs away. I thought that was really nice. You know, secondary characters in horror films don't really get that kind of character development, I don't think. And it was nice to see that happen in this film. And whereas you know they're probably going to die because they're secondary characters, it gave me a reason to give a shit. You really do give a shit about these side characters because Jeremy Sisto is really genuine, a really good actor. And I like that they threw that in the script. Of course, this was written by Alan B. McElroy, who also most horror fans will probably remember him from Halloween 4. He also wrote, I think, Anaconda 2, The Hunt for the Blood Orchid. He also wrote the new Wrong Turn movie, Wrong Turn 2021, The Foundation, because apparently he's not a fan of the original Wrong Turn. I don't know what his problem is, but he was not happy with this film and vocally not happy with it. So that's why years and years later we get a reboot because he wasn't happy. And of course, I wouldn't personally be happy if I was responsible for the series that spawned post part 2. But man, I don't know. It's just there's something about this movie that I really do enjoy. I don't really understand what the writer's gripes are. But I thought that this was a fantastic kind of return to backwoods slasher form, if you will. And like it's one of those films that I just have always really enjoyed. It's a quick movie. It's in I put it like this is one of those great early 2000s horror movies too. Like you have Jeepers Creepers, that's a really fun one from this time. Joyride. This is right falls right in with those kind of horror movies that have some thrills, some chills, some suspense, not over the top gory, but at the end of the day, it's quick, it's in and out, good popcorn movie, good horror entertainment. It's nothing, there's nothing too deep about this. There's no big character arc, if you will. But I think it doesn't really have to be that. Not every horror movie has to reinvent the wheel and has to really go for it. This is really a horror movie that plays it safe. And in my humble opinion, I think I like that this movie really plays it safe because it really opens up the door for the sequels, which of course only one of them is able to recapture that potential. But I like that this movie plays it safe. It really does. It does not take much chances. For example, there's this whole scene towards the end where Eliza Dushku and Desmond Harrington they're in the cabin battling Three Finger and the other cannibals. And normally, I feel like it would be super gory and raw and extreme. It's not. It's almost like an action adventure finale. That like one of the cannibals kicks Eliza Dushku through a glass table, and Desmond Harrington and her like double team him to take him down. And I don't know, like it just felt kind of like more like an action film finale. But I like that. I thought it was a little different. It wasn't as gory as most horror film finales get. And for some reason, I thought it worked here. It really did. And I don't know, man. I just think that this is one of those movies that I could always pop it on. I could always enjoy it. There's not really too much to it. There's not much. It's one of those I could turn my brain off and enjoy it for sure. And I just kind of like everybody involved. I don't really, I don't know. I see as of late, especially since this new one's came out, all the reviews I've read, a lot of films or a lot of film sites, film critics, film reviewers, if you will, on YouTube, kind of starting to bury this film. I beg to differ. Even if this new one is good, I don't think it's right to bury this film just because the writer's not a fan. I don't know. I think this is still a solid movie for what it is and for the time period that it came out in. It was a decent hit. I think it made a decent amount of money. It had a budget of let's see. I had this up at work before, but I'm sorry. I have a bad memory. Let's see. What was the budget of this film? Budget of this film was 12.6 mil, gross 28 mil worldwide. So a modest success, but I believe this was a huge hit on DVD home video, thus why they wanted to do a sequel direct to DVD. I think this made like 9 million in direct to DVD sales. Like once it came to DVD, this maybe sold really good on DVD, and that's probably why they greenlit the sequel. And I'm glad they did because I really like the first Wrong Turn. I think this is a solid backwoods horror movie. It's one that again, I like I said, it plays it safe. Are the inbreds really that great? No. Like I'll say that their designs are nice, but you really barely see them. But I think that's credit to the director Rob Schmidt. He kind of shoots them in the shadows. It's not much of one of those horror movies that are, oh, look at the inbred family. It's one of those, no, we're going to build suspense and tension, and we're going to make you scared of them long before you really see what they truly look like. And I thought that was really nice. I thought he kind of approached it like old school Toby Hooper would. And I thought that it really worked. I like Wrong Turn. I really am a big fan of this movie. If I had to rate this one, That's tough, man. I'm gonna go to solid 7.5 out of 10. I really like the original Wrong Turn. A good little flick, fun popcorn movie, and an awesome horror flick to watch. I've noticed that it's funny. It seems people love or hate this one, but I don't know. I kind of love it. I'm a big fan. Wrong Turn, and of course Miss Dushku. Always a big fan of Eliza. So it's one of her only big hits. It's actually pretty crazy. The Deaths in Open Grave sound hilarious, dude. That movie's a fucking piece of shit. There's one scene where this guy he summons up these like ancient snakes, and they're like horrible CGI, and they attack him. Oh my god! And like the ending is laughably bad, where Eliza Dushku and the lead man they're like on a beach, and like she like turns into this like sea monster, and like they put her on the cross. And it's fucking horrible, man. That Open Graves is like one of the worst movies. Nobody ever talks about it, but it's a total piece of shit. She also did one, oh my god, with Wes Bentley and Soul Survivors. That's what it was called. It was like a Final Destination esque kind of knockoff. Another big piece of shit. Like such a shame, man, because she's really talented. She just completely just never really got that big role to her great. Yeah, it really was. It really was short lived. It's a shame. Bring It On. Yeah, my sister always loved that one. Eliza was in. Yeah, that's right. With Ali Larter, more horror royalty there. I love Jane Silent Bob Strike Back. I wish he had come back for the new one. I still haven't seen that new one, the Jane Silent Bob reboot. Holy crap! Another actor named Julian Richings was in Romero's Survival of the Dead. A lot of Romero connections in Wrong Turn. I didn't know that. I actually did not know that at all. That's pretty cool. Dude, that's amazing. Of course, Alan B. McElroy doesn't like Wrong Turn One. That sucks. It has really good writing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what his problem is. I've read that he dislikes it, but I've never really heard him say why. But if he was willing to write a whole nother Wrong Turn movie for now, I'd assume it's pretty strong hatred because, I mean, if you really hate this film, you must have wanted to remake it. So I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. I think it's a good little movie. I don't know. I don't get what his problem is. But thus, because of it was such a modest success in, slight success in the theater and a huge success in DVD sales, of course they said, hey, let's greenlight a sequel. And I am very glad they greenlit this sequel. This is easily my favorite of the series, and it is none other than my good man Joe Lynch's Wrong Turn 2 Dead End. This is the unrated DVD. I got these way back in the day. These are really old DVDs. I mean, like right when they came out, old. So this is like 15 years old DVD. And man, I just think this is one of those sequels that does every single thing right. It tones up everything. But Joe Lynch was one of those guys that I think really got the slasher genre way better than people that get credit for understanding and making good slasher movies do. For example, his good buddy Adam Green, he made the Hatchet films, which he promised were going to revolutionize the horror genre. And honestly, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that movie. Whereas here, I think this is one of those slasher movies that could have and maybe should have reinvented the entire slasher genre because of what it does. This takes so many fucking chances. And that's why I really love this movie. Of course, you have here, I have a plot synopsis for this one too. We can go right into this damn thing as soon as this loads. Sorry, this goddamn computer is not being cooperative tonight. A group of reality show contestants find themselves fighting for their survival against a family of hideously deformed inbred cannibals who plan to ruthlessly butcher them all. Ooh, yeah, Wrong Turn 2. Dude, I think it's so underrated. I don't get why people don't really put this one over more. I know there are some people that will say they really like it, but man, this is one of the better slasher sequels out there. And of course, it stars Erica Learson, who, again, more horror royalty. She was in Blair Witch 2. She was in that shitty Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, this is a better Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake than that movie. It is. It's like it takes so many more of the elements that make the original TCM work and applies them here, and I think really works. Plus, there's actually a good dinner scene in this movie, which is not anywhere to be fucking found in that shitty remake. But I digress. Um, right off the bat, I think what he did that really makes this stand out above all the rest of them is the characters. He took all of your quintessential horror tropes and changed them, turned them on their heads. So you have, of course, the jokester character, the asshole character. And he's in this film, and of course, he does die like most of the jokester, annoying characters do in horror films. but he had a heart to him, and I can get into that later. There's one girl who's like super depressed and down on herself, and she's kind of selfish and whatnot. You're thinking, okay, this goth bitch, she'll be the one to go. She ends up being our final girl. You have a girl that's presented as the final girl who is, of course, oh, I'm weak, I'm not good at this stuff, blah blah blah, the typical, oh God, this is going to be our final girl. Of course, she's weak. And then by the end, she'll overcome it and grow and become bigger, better, and badder. That doesn't happen either. She's one of the first ones to go. You have an African American character who is the jock. And of course, always the jock has to be the one that dies. No, he ends up being one of the heroes of this movie. And he has a heart to him, too. You have the slut character who, of course, that's one of the tropes they didn't change. She ends up like blowing one of the producers just to get camera time, and of course, she meets her demise in a pretty bloody way. But I really like the way they play with these tropes because on paper, what you have is the typical formula. And Joe Lynch said, why not have the jock be the hero at the end? Why not have the suicidal goth bitch rise above and stop this family? Why the hell not? Why does it always have to be the weak, skimpy final girl? Whereas we can make it the jock and actually give him a heart, a character, and this kind of suicidal goth chick who's out for herself, but at the end has to learn to go back for somebody else, even though it may not benefit her, it just benefits the situation. And I just love what Joe Lynch did with this. Like, I thought that was a really smart way to play with the characters of this movie. And man, this is a gory ass film. I love the gore in this. You have a great opening kill where this girl, she hits one of the inbreded family. She goes to help him. He bites her damn lip off. And it's this great practical makeup effect. She turns around and freaking Three Finger lines her up like a block of wood. And then bam, acts right through like the center, just right down. And I love the way they film this. They film the exterior of him swinging, and then they cut to a shot in between her legs, and you see all this guts and gore and all that good stuff fall down to the ground as they kind of drag both halves of her off, and we got our opening title. Fucking insane, incredible way to open up a wrong turn film, or any film for that matter. That's how you open up a slasher film. Just make me go, whoa, that's something I haven't seen before. And that's something that was so fucking gory. I cannot wait to see what the rest of this movie has in store. And this movie only gets better from there. I just, again, you get these great characters. You get Henry Rollins' character, who's a badass, like, army sergeant guy. He's sort of the show, the leader of this reality show, if you will, the host of it. He just kicks ass in this movie, shooting bow and arrows, putting them war makeup on, kicking ass, taking names, blowing up some of the cannibals, shooting them with shotguns. Just awesome. Like, almost like if John Rambo was in a wrong turn film, that's his character in this. It's just awesome. I love Henry Rollins. He's just great. And he has these fun one-liners. Like, he blows one up, he goes, hoorah, and kaboom. And I think he does a really, really fun job in this. I think he does a good job. And I like that they go away from the typical family that we would go on to see in most of the rest of these. In this, Three Finger is in it, but he's really not the main antagonist. It's more of this other family that this is the only movie they're in. They're credited as ma, pa, brother, and sister. The father's Ken Kersinger from, of course, Freddy vs. Jason fame. And I liked this group of cannibals the best. And I think what Joe Lynch does and why he gets the genre here, he presents them not as how the other rest of the cannibals of this series are presented, whereas Three Fingers psychotic and Sawtooth psychotic, and of course One Eye psychotic. He presents these four as a true family. And that's what makes them scary to me. That's what makes the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre scary. It's the side dialogue between the family members saying, look what your brother did to the door, and all that shit. And in this, you have stuff like that. You have the brother and sister, they're arguing because the brother finds the slut attractive and the sister starts beating the shit out of him. She's like, you should find me attractive because we're inbred, bro. And that's fucked up, but it's awesome. Like, it's so fucking awesome because I love that it goes there. I think it's really cool. You see scenes where the mother, of course, is preparing dinner. Of course, all the dead corpses and whatnot. And the father just starts rubbing the mother's shoulders, and he takes a seat on the couch. He's drinking some fucking sludge or whatever. It paints them as the natural all-American family, but with just a one big dark twist. I thought that was brilliant. That's exactly how these families should be presented, as just that, as families. A lot of films, it's just, oh well, they're family, but the first wrong turn. Even I know I could say that as a slight knock at this film. They could just be friends. They're not family in this movie. There's no real dialogue from them. It's just a lot of laughing. Whereas this, you get a lot of that too, a lot of laughing from the cannibals, not much dialogue. But at the end of the day, I think it was cool to present them as an apple pie American family with just one fucking dark inbred twist. Really cool stuff. And of course, all the setups and kills in this are just fucking fantastic. You have the scene where the slut girl is deciding, I'm going to get some fucking tanning going on. She's lying out by the river. And then the sister comes along with this fucking knife and just the girl trips in the water and just slices and dices the back of this girl. And it is just so well fucking shot as you see this girl scream in terror. Of course, the actress is Crystal Lowe, who is an awesome low-key scream queen that nobody ever mentions. But she was in this film. She was in the Black Christmas remake. She was in Final Destination 3. She was in one of my favorite Masters of Horror episodes, Pick Me Up. She was in one of the Bad Children of the Corn sequels. She's in like every sequel around this time, and she dies in like all of them, which I think was funny. I watched an interview with her and she mentioned that. She's like, every fucking horror movie I'm in, I always die. Like, I thought that was mad funny. And of course, this is no exception. She gets an awesome death scene, and she played a great, like, the slutty bitch character, if you will. She nailed it. She's basically that role in every one of these movies, but I think she always hits the nail on the head. You have Texas Battle, who, again, another Final Destination 3 alumni, which is funny because this movie's a better sequel than Final Destination 3. It's so crazy how little scale this movie is and how much better it is than so many other movies that have more money behind it. And I think the biggest reason for that is Joe Lynch. And I see here Aiden said, Joe Lynch is an underrated filmmaker. I love Wrong Turn 2 and Mayhem. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Joe Lynch because I think for whatever reason, he really does understand why these movies work. And I was watching some of the making of this, and it just really inspired me. I'm like, dude, look at this guy. He's a guy who grew up on the Friday the 13th films, just like all of us. And here he is making a movie that takes some nods from them, obviously takes some of the same formula tropes, but says, hey, why can't I make it new? Why can't I shake it up? There's this cool scene where this one girl's running, and I saw on the making of, they put this camera around her waist. And so the camera's like this, just basically like this webcam, like if I was running with this webcam, and she's looking around, and they have this axe kind of whack her in the head. What they did was they had tied the appliance to her back and then triggered it. So it looked like she got whacked in the head with an axe. And it's an incredible special effect. It looks really, really good. And he's one of those guys that he said he, in this, making of, he came from the Sam Raimi film school. He said there's no place that the camera can't go. And there's a lot of really fun shots, just like that one I just mentioned. There's a lot of unique shots, highs, lows. And I just think he does a really, really cool job directing this movie. And he wasn't afraid to take chances with some shots. Are there some CGI squibs? Sure. But there's so much practical gore in this film that you completely understand that that's how CGI needs to be used. It needs to be used sparingly. It's very fucking sparingly used in this movie, which this fucking piece of shit should have fucking did. Okay, I'm gonna rant on that motherfucker. But the practical gore in this is off the fucking charts. I just adore it. There's a scene where the fucking, oh god, I forget the character's name, but he's the cameraman, the lead like director guy. There's a scene where they strap him down, they cut his head off, and you see all this practical gore like leak out, and then of course you see his head just drop on the ground. Really good stuff. I think there was just so much good practical gore effects in this. There's of course your lead kind of feminist, like she is actually a lesbian character in this. She's stuck with the asshole. They're like a group, and the whole time he's just getting underneath her skin. He's like, "You're a lesbian? That is so hot," and all this stuff. And they're going back and forth. And he's like, "Cool at Ramba," and all this stuff. Like I thought their chemistry was really good. But again, even though he was a douche to her at some times, and even though she couldn't stand him, I liked that they kind of came full circle with their characters. There's a point where they're running from the inbred family, and they both step on these rope traps, and they're both hung upside down, and they're both trying to kind of calm the other down because they know they're done. And the son is lining up a bow and arrow shot as the father is trying to show his son the ropes. Again, the family aspect that's in none of the other one of these movies. I thought that was really funny. Here, son, why don't you give it a try? I thought that was fucking great. And I like they have their little moment. They hold hands, they look into each other's eyes, and they say, I'm really scared right now. And she's like, I got you, I got you. And they do get killed. They do the double arrow through the eyes, and it is CG. But I liked that moment. Again, just like this film, I liked the characters. I thought the characters were so likable. And when they died upon this last rewatch of it, I was like, I wouldn't have minded if they were the two that made it out at the end. It would have made no difference to me. I'm glad that the two that do survive this film survive, but in an alternate universe and an alternate cut, I would have had no problem with those two rising above and being the cannibal family at the end. I thought that would have been a really cool thing too. But I liked that it gave them credibility. I liked that it gave them a reason to give a shit. Because normally it's, I can't stand these characters. I can't stand these characters. I can't stand these characters. Dude, when we get to, I may have a brain aneurysm when I start talking about the other ones, man. Because this is the last one I like. I'll be fucking brutally honest. But I think they were cool. And then I love the whole finale with Erica Learson, Texas Battle, and they kind of recreate the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre dinner scene. But again, it's well done here. It's really well done here. You have Erica Learson, she's tied up, but not with just rope or string, it's barbed wire. And all of her fucking arm is just gushing blood. And Texas Battle is tied up with the rope, and they're just all taunting her and shoving food in her face. And it's a scary, I think what was scary about it was because of how bleak it's shot. It's a really bleak looking dinner scene. And it almost feels like you could smell the food at points. I thought that was really, really well done by Joe Lynch. His direction of that scene was cool. And then you have this badass fucking Henry Rollins busting in and blowing up the brother and sister with dynamite and fighting the mother and father, calling the father a bitch. He's like, "That all you got, bitch?" He's getting shot with bow and arrow. I'm like, holy shit, this motherfucker's badass. And of course, Henry Rollins does die, but I thought he really served his purpose, and he added a lot of fun to this movie. Again, a badass character who went down in a blaze of glory, which once again is not in any of the other movies. I think that was something that was sorely missed in a lot of these other films. But of course, Erica Learson and Texas Battle, they both kind of team up. They get the father and mother to fall into this like meat grinder, if you will. They shoot out, and then they kind of have this back and forth where he goes, you didn't have to come back for me. And she just goes, sue me. I love that. They kind of ride off in a nice Corvette, and the film kind of ends. They do like a sequel bait ending, of course, with Three Finger, which I wish they hadn't have done. But I don't know, man. Every time I watch this, I just smile and I go, this is why I do love the backwoods slasher genre. It's for directors and films like this. Was this big budget? No, this had $4 million budget, but Joe Lynch was able to do different things with the characters, stuff that we do not see very much in these films. He was able to add awesome practical effects and gore, awesome death scenes that were creative and innovative. And at the end of the day, I think he also really added that awesome family aspect that really makes you like this family as a good antagonist family. And I don't know. I thought this movie did the cannibals right. And it's a shame that they actually are the best in this and get killed in this. But I liked them, and I thought it was cool that he added them instead of just doing Three Finger like the next one, and then the rest of them do the main three because they're all prequels. Um, I don't know, man. To me, this is one of those things where I look at this and I go, how the hell did Joe Lynch not get the Friday the 13th remake job? Like, what made them pick Marcus Nispel over Joe Lynch like, if I'm a producer and I saw what Joe Lynch did with the low budget that this film has, and then I'm a producer and I watched that Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, I'm hiring this fucking guy 100 out of 100 times to do that remake because he was the better option. He did so much more with so much less. And he understood that he couldn't polish it and he couldn't play it safe because the first film already had. He goes for it here. This is a really R-rated film. It goes for it. There's some fucking crazy shit in this. But I like that he went there, and I like that he took it up a notch. And I think what he added really did improve upon the finished product. I love Joe Lynch. I think he did an awesome job with this. I think his buddy Adam Green should take notes. I think this is better than any Hatchet film. And personally, I think this is one of the most underrated and one of the best direct-to-video movies of all time. I absolutely love Wrong Turn 2, Dead End, unrated cut. I couldn't recommend this one any more than I already have. I think this is an awesome flick. Just does everything that I want to see in a good horror movie. Really super underrated. I will come in at the solid 8.5 out of 10 for Wrong Turn 2, Dead End. Big fan. So it's funny because the rest of this episode is going to pretty much change, like in my demeanor and tone and whatever. Because generally I do franchises that I like most of them. Friday 13th, I like most of them. I don't like Jason Goes to Hell. I don't like Jason X. But I did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's only a few. I don't really like the remake. I don't like Leatherface. Those are the only two Texas Chainsaw Massacre films I fucking hate. Aiden has a comment here. The ending of Wrong Turn 2 is great. The characters deserve a ride off into the sunset. I'm curious what Scott Spiegel would have done with the Wrong Turn sequel. Well, Aiden, I wish to God that he would have directed this. I wish to God I would have took Scott Spiegel to make 3, 4, and 5 and 6 before I ever would have hired the shithead they hired. But it is what it is. 8.5 for the original, the sequel, Long Live Wrong Turn 1 and 2. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Wrong Turn 1 and 2. I think they're awesome fucking movies. But man, I remember when I first saw Wrong Turn 1, I really liked it. And then I remember seeing Wrong Turn 2. I actually rented this way back in the day at a Hollywood Video. And I was like, I cannot wait for part 3. And I believe it was 2009 this movie came out. I'm not positive. 2009, I believe. So 4 years after. 4 years later. Oh, no, 2 years later. This was 07, right? I always fucking forget. I'm sorry. Yeah, this was 07. So 2 years later, we get Wrong Turn 3, Left for Dead. This movie fucking sucks. And I hate it with a passion. I hate this movie. This might just be the worst one. It's close because the rest of these are fucking garbage. I don't even know really what I'm going to say about the rest of these, but man, they stink. I'll read the quick plot synopsis. When their transfer bus crashes in a West Virginia forest, a group of convicts and corrections officers meet a rafter who is on the run from cannibalistic hillbillies who have murdered her friends. Yes, Wrong Turn 3, Left for Dead, directed by Declan O'Brien, who is easily the biggest problem with this film and the next two films, as he serves as the director of all three. And I believe he wrote parts 4 and 5 collectively. On paper, that sounds interesting, doesn't it? Like when I heard that and I saw the trailer, I was like, yo, what the first two Wrong Turns kicked ass. This is going to be awesome. It sounds like Assault on Precinct 13, but thrown in the middle of the woods, and we'll throw Thringfinger into the mix and maybe some more cannibals. And bam, we got something. We got Assault on Precinct 13 in the fucking woods with some hillbilly cannibals playing as the third party. And our heroes are going to be these convicts and police officers having to team up to fucking stop all these cannibals. That sounds awesome. It sounds fucking awesome on paper. I wish they had called fucking Scott Spiegel. I wish they had called anybody who had a knowledge of directing film, because this piece of shit guy, he directed Cyclops. He had directed fucking Joyride 3. That's what he went on to do. This 4, 5. He has a terrible fucking filmography. If you look up this guy's filmography, just terrible, man. And the fucking CGI in this as compared to the awesome, mostly practical effects. I know there's some CG in this film, but it's mostly practical. It's CGI done sparingly. This, everything's CGI. You have this one guy who gets fucking split in 3 and he falls apart as this awful CGI effect. You have, oh my God, gunshots to the head, CGI. Every fucking death scene in this piece of shit movie is CGI death scene. I just don't, oh my God, man. It's fucking baffling how far you can fall from two really good movies. I thought, okay, you're going to do a trilogy, right? Because on paper, I think it sounds good to do it as a trilogy. Hey, first one made decent buzz in the theater. Let's try a sequel. Hey, this made a lot of money on directed DVD sales. Let's do a third one. Let's close it out. And that's what I thought, because Three Fingers the only one in this. So I'm thinking, okay, he'll pick them all off to the end where he'll get stopped and then the series will end. I wish it had. I really wish it had ended here, because then I wouldn't have had to watch 4, 5, and 6. But man, I fucking hate this movie with a passion. Talk about unlikable fucking characters. And believe it or not, they're more likable in this than in the next film. I think they're most unlikable in part 4. This cast was so fucking bad. You have Tom Frederick, Janet Montgomery. I don't even know who these motherfuckers are, dude. They stink, man. It's so bad. The premise for Wrong Turn 3 is cool, but holy shit, the execution is horrible. This has some of the worst CGI of all time. It really does. I mean, it's fucking unbelievably bad CGI, for considering this is like 1998 CGI in a 2009 film. And it's just baffling considering that you had just been coming off 2 movies that did practical effects well. Like, why are we getting away from practical effects, and why did we hire this hack of a director? See, I think you could have brought Joe Lynch back. You could have even brought Eliza Dushku back. I think that's probably the route I would have went. I probably would have been like, what do we have to pay Eliza Dushku to come back? Because apparently around this time she was, of course, struggling in her career. I think this is the same year she made Open Graves, which actually is better than this. And considering that, you know how bad this movie is then. But I would have done anything I could have to bring her back. Bring somebody back from the first film to say, I've dealt with this before. The final, of course, like the Ripley character. I've been here before. I can help us out of this. And have her some way, shape, or form with these convicts and cops. That would have been really strong. This lead girl, terrible. I don't even fucking remember her name. I'm not even gonna look at it. I don't care. I don't care what her fucking name is, because it's shitty. It fucking stinks. All right. You have this really lame, like, opening where, of course, these kids, they're all like smoking weed or whatever. One of them's having sex and she gets an arrow through the chest. Wow. But it's all bad CG again. And like, man, it's just so poorly done. I can't. This is a prime example of how to not do a direct to DVD sequel, because it just does everything fucking wrong. And in my opinion, had the concept there. I think you fly Eliza Dushku in, you have her return as the lead, you have her have a final showdown with Three Finger, mano a mano, and maybe a side character, maybe one of the convicts, like, has a heroic moment or something. You could play with the tropes, play with the character tropes. Why do the comics all have to be bad? Why do the cops all have to be good? Why not play with those tropes just like this film does? I feel like there's so much more they could have done with this. And at the end of the day, it's just such a lazy fucking film. There's nothing to this. There's no reason to go, hey, I want to watch this. Like, there's none. It's not fun. It's dull. It's boring. There's, I think, the least amount of cannibals on screen in this film. It's Three Finger and this one child who gets killed like immediately. That's the only 2 cannibals in this film. And like, yet this entire fucking crew of inmates and cops that are armed to the fucking teeth can't take him down until the very fucking end. Horrible. They did not have to do this 1 versus 30. This should have been 30 on 30. This should have been fucking massacre, okay? And while I read here that this has the biggest body count in the series, man, think about how much more you could have done with that. Think about, let's say maybe you get an extra million or 2 to work with. I know 2 million is low, so I can sort of give a little bit of leeway there. I know that he had half the budget Joe Lynch had to work with. I get that. But the difference between Joe Lynch and this guy is Joe Lynch loved the genre and got it. This guy didn't give a shit. This is his Plan 9 from outer space, if you will. This is a movie that only he's going to like. Only his fucking mother. I don't even think his mother could like this movie because it's a piece of shit. Apparently Eliza was interested in returning to the series. This third entry direct to video and film's a bad name. Exactly. That's why a lot of direct to video films, people just go, oh, fuck that. I don't want to watch direct to video movie. I'm like, oh, if you only knew, But if they held this up and said, I don't like direct to DVD sequels, I couldn't really argue. because this is a piece of shit. But I don't know, man. I think you would have. I think another world, I think I bring Eliza Dushku back. I tone up the practical violence and stuff. I add more inbred cannibals, make it an actual fucking war, like 30 inmates and guards versus fucking 30 cannibals. And then you're gonna have Eliza Dushku save the day and get away with maybe one or two of the, maybe one convict, one cop, or just one convict, one cop. I don't know, whatever you wanted to do. But this could have been saved if you went that route and if you had come up with more creative death scenes like part two did. This is just completely flat. This is one of those reasons that it's just horror done wrong, in my humble opinion. There's nothing to like about this movie. I promise you, I promise this, now that I've covered this, I will never fucking watch this again. Fuck that movie. I just threw it across the room. I don't give a fuck, because that shit stanks, all right? That shit stinks. Wrong Turn 3, I'm going to come in with a solid rating of a number 2 out of 10. It's shit. Don't watch Wrong Turn 3 because that shit stinks and I smell it from all the way over here. I'm going to try to flush it down my toilet later, bro, because that shit stinks. Moving on. Moving on into 2011, where, of course, because he did such a wonderful job on Wrong Turn 3, they decided, let's fucking bring the guy back. Let's bring him back to do Bloody Beginnings. I'm talking about Wrong Turn 4. Holy fucking shit. This movie fucking sucks too. And like, again, it's one of those movies on paper, I thought, wow, that sounds fucking good. You have the inbred cannibal family. They're in this asylum, a mental asylum now. It's snowing outside. You're changing the visual aesthetic. You're changing the setting. Something that for years I love to do with classic slasher franchises. It's fun to change up the setting, I think. But this movie, man, you would never know the fucking difference. And they also have this as a prequel. Once again, you would never know the fucking difference. This is a piece of fucking shit movie where all the fucking characters. This is one of those movies where people go, oh, you like slasher films? All the characters are so dumb. This is one of those fucking movies that give slasher films a bad name. Not this movie where I like all the characters. Hell, even the first one, I love all the characters. This, though, holy fucking shit. We're going to get into this. We do have some comments, though. My man Frank Dermani's in the Heezy. What's going on, good brother? How are you? Thank you for checking out the show tonight. I much appreciate it, my man. The unrated title on Wrong Turn 3 DVD is worthless. It's just more shitty CGI blood. I hate this entry. One of the worst third entries of all time. Yeah, I would agree with that. This is one of the worst third entries of all time, easily. Wrong Turn 5 isn't bad, to be honest. Oh, shit, I don't know. I fucking hate 3 to 6. I hate. Yeah, this one. Holy shit. I like because it's in the snow and it's a prequel. I thought on paper the same thing. I thought, how could you not like this? And then I watched it, and then I was like, holy fucking shit. I said how fast this Wrong Turn franchise fell. Only thing I remember Wrong Turn is snowy atmosphere and shitty characters. Yeah, this has some of the shittiest characters in the history of film. I'll say that right off the bat. They are horrible. You have the classic setup of they're in the snow, a bunch of group of kids. They fucking get lost. They take a wrong turn, if you will. They go into this asylum where Three Fingers, Sawtooth, and One Eye all were like basically raised when they were kids. They broke out, and you get this entertaining opening scene where they kill these nurses and this doctor, and they do get some practical gore effects. So I appreciate the little bit less CGI in this film, but still plenty of bad CGI. And it's not like they took away the bad CGI. They just kind of minimalized it a little bit. There is some decent practicality in this, though. So I will nod my head to that. It's slightly better just on that forefront alone. But everything else in this movie, man, it is fucking a nightmare to sit through this, man. It's just, oh, man, I absolutely despise this movie. You have our lead characters in this, and they are all absolutely fucking stupid. Basically, they're in this fucking asylum, and it's just one stupid fucking decision after another stupid fucking decision. You have at one point they get the cannibals like locked in a room after the cannibals had killed this one guy's girlfriend and fucking killed their friend, right? Um, they get him in a room and fucking they lock the door on them. And one of the lead guys goes, "I'm gonna burn these motherfuckers alive." And this lead girl, this lead big tittied airhead motherfucker comes in the room and goes, you can't burn them alive. And he goes, "They deserve it." And she goes, "I know they deserve it, but you don't. Give me the lighter. Give me the lighter." And he fucking gives her the lighter. He could have burned them all alive and killed them and end the fucking movie and went out a blaze of glory for his girlfriend who had just been hung with a fucking barbed wire noose. And instead, he listens to this dumb, big tittied idiot who comes in the room like, "Oh, no, you don't deserve this. You don't deserve this." They fucking did deserve it. You know who deserved it? You. He should throw you in the fucking cell and burn all four of you alive, bitch. This fucking big tittied airhead motherfucker, man. Holy shit. Retarded. There's one scene where they get one of the characters, right? They put him on a table and they start cutting pieces of his skin off and dipping it into fried oil like he is a fucking fondue. And these fucking stupid people decide we're just going to stand in the hallway and watch. Let's not help our friend who's being eaten like he's a fucking cheese fondue on a fucking Billy Mays commercial. No, let's stand there and watch with our thumbs up our asses. Let's stand there and watch. Oh, and then one of the girls, she runs out and goes, "They're eating him like fondue." And like, they're all like, "Oh, well, what should we do?" "Well, maybe we should go around the back and we'll cut him off at the fucking cutoff." I'm sitting there, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, yo, to all my friends watching this, if I'm ever getting fucking sliced, diced, and fondued, please run in there and try to help my ass. Don't fucking stand out there and go, "Oh, they don't deserve to be killed." Fucking horrible, man. The deaths in this are laughably fucking bad. You have one lady and she's fucking, they're trying to burrow through the snow and she gets drilled through the stomach, of course CGI. You get one girl who, "Oh, I'm gonna go get help, guys. I'm not gonna take my fucking coat with me down the mountain. I'm a good skier." This idiot tries to fucking wobble down the mountain to call for help, and then she fucking freezes to death off screen. They cut back to her. "Oh, she froze to death. Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know, bro." Are you fucking kidding me? She's such a great skier. She fucking couldn't get down the mountain. Are you serious? Like, holy moly, man. What a fucking, oh man, I cannot stand this movie, man. Yeah, we got that one. Well, the new movie comes out on my birthday, so I think I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, no, I definitely will be watching that. I might even just get the blue. If I'm gonna rent it for $10, I might as well just buy the blue for 15 or whatever. I cannot wait for your rant on Wrong Turn 5 or Nate's review where he's the actors walk off the set. Dude, this fucking production designs, you could tell they were sets. It's just like they went to Bulgaria and were like, "Yo, let's start shooting." Like, I don't give a fuck. Oh my god, terrible. Buried Hatchet Productions. Good brother. I don't even recognize your name, dude. Thank you for checking out the channel. God bless, man. I think the snow scenery is cool. Gotta love a good snow horror. Well, I'm glad. It seems like this movie has two fans in here. I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority, but I nearly had a panic attack watching this. Oh my God, it was fucking horrible, man. It may have even pissed me off as much as Wrong Turn 3, but it was more entertainingly bad than Wrong Turn 3. I'll say that. It was definitely more watchable. But I don't know, man. I just think like this is one of those horror movies that give horror movies a bad name. Like a lot of people look at this and go, "Oh, horror characters are stupid." Yeah, in this movie, they literally could not be more stupid. It's actually fucking insulting how stupid they are. And like, I don't know, man, really unmemorable death scenes, really big fall from grace from the characters that are in the first two movies, where I like these actors and actresses and I thought they had decent arcs and decent like change of pace to the character. Oh, the jock's not an asshole? That's awesome. I want to see more movies like that. This movie's like, hold my beer. I'm not doing that shit, man. I don't know. I completely did not interest me. I thought changing the setting and making it a prequel would really work as well. But man, it just completely and utterly fell flat for me. I dislike this movie with a burning passion. I fucking hate Wrong Turn 4. I'm going to give it a slight increase of a vote over Wrong Turn 3. I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 10. And another one that I will never fucking watch again. There's a scene towards the end before I move on from this where our last two girls are alive. And they think they've outsmarted the fucking three cannibals or whatever. They get on a snowmobile. They're driving away. They look, and both of their heads just fly off because they get like their heads chopped off by this fucking barbed wire or whatever. And their heads fly in the air. And it's so fucking poorly done, man. And the film just kind of ends, and they end this with the song Wrong Turn, which isn't a bad song. But oh my God, man. I remember when I saw the end of this movie, I was like, yo, rest in pepperonis to the Wrong Turn movies. Like, this is fucking garbage. And I don't understand why they brought Declan O'Brien back. I don't understand why in the bluest of blue fucks they brought him back for a part 5 after this. But I don't know. I think in a lot of ways there are some people, and maybe Frank or Buried Hatchet Productions, because you guys seem to like this one. Maybe you can verify this for me and maybe you confirm this for me. Do you think that these movies, do you see and view these movies as dumb fun? Like the sequels. I'm talking about 3 through 6. Do you view these as dumb fun? I know my friend Brian does. I know a few people that do. I just I think these are insulting. Like I would say dumb fun is stuff like Silent Night Daily Night 5, Silent Night Daily Night 2. That's dumb fun. That's it's not taking itself uber seriously. There are a lot of like slasher movies like that. Student Bodies. There's just tons of slasher movies that I view as dumb fun. These though, not at all. I find these fucking insulting, and I think they're just poorly fucking made and directed personally. But maybe you can confirm because maybe it's just us. I don't know. Maybe I just can't see these movies as dumb fun. I think maybe because I look at these two so seriously. I think these, while they have their humor spots, that they're serious, well done horror films. Whereas this, man, this one, man, phew, it's just a joke. It really is a joke, and that's maybe why it's garnered such a cult following. And I know the Sci-Fi Channel always shows these sequels, so it's in the same vein of the Sharknado and shit like that that people like. I don't like those kind of movies because they're purposely made bad. I like bad movies that aren't. They're purposely trying to be good films, like Troll 2. Troll 2 was so trying to be the best movie of all time, and like it just fails on every single aspect of it. But there's a charm there. There's no charm to this for me. For 3, 4, 5, 6, no charm. Just utter fucking garbage. I hate Wrong Turn 4. 2.5 out of 10 for me. I'm gonna throw that one too. Not against the wall, but it's just as might as well be. 1.5 out of 10 for Wrong Turn 4. I never will watch that film again. You know, honestly, I don't think I ever will either. I was so fucking pissed. I nearly fucking had a panic attack watching Wrong Turn 4. When they didn't burn them alive and they were in the cell, I literally stood up and fucking screamed. I was like, yo, I am tapped out. Like, I got grape juice immediately after. I was fucking pissed. Yes, haha, they're fun because of guys like Three Finger, Sawtooth, and One Eye. However, it's not impossible to make a franchise full of successful sequels that even the biggest fans love. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I guess I don't know. Maybe there are people that think these two films don't get it done. Maybe I've heard, especially with this now that the new one has come out, that people are saying this is boring and that this wasn't that good. This isn't that well done of a film. And it's. I even had a friend tell me yesterday that he had always liked it. He recently went back and rewatched it and found it dull. I don't agree at all. I respect it, of course, but I don't know. Maybe people just prefer the dumb fun approach as opposed to a more serious approach. I don't know. Maybe I'm just more old school. I like more old school exploitation, backwoods fucking horror. I like that genre style much more than approaching it like a latter Friday the 13th sequel, like very tongue in cheek. I don't know. Like it's just dumb fun, perfect example. I love Sleepaway Camp 3. That's dumb fun. It's a really well done film and has good characters and good gore and special makeup effects. And I can have fun even though it's not being serious 100% of the time. I think that's just one of those tonal things, though. Like maybe it's just a fine line. Maybe some people go, "Hey, I can laugh at this. I have a wider sense of humor than I do. It's very possible. I just love thinking about stuff like that, though. It's very interesting to hear that there are some fans of these latter sequels, no matter how bad they get. They just look at them as dumb fun. And I respect that at the end of the day. I just personally found it torture for myself. So we will, with that said, we can get into Wrong Turn 5. I don't own Wrong Turn 5 because I literally cannot see spending money on it. Unless it is literally handed to me for free, I will never fucking spend a dime or a fucking penny on this piece of shit movie. Wrong Turn 5, Bloodlines from 2012. I'll read a little plot synopsis. A group of college students on a trip to Mountain Man Festival on Halloween in West Virginia encounter a clan of cannibals. Yes, this is the one where, of course, they brought Declan O'Brien back because you can't really fucking do a horrible wrong turn movie without him. They bring him back, and they brought in fucking Doug Bradley a year removed from Hellraiser Revelations, where he was recast as Pinhead because the idiots at Dimension Extreme or Dimension Films didn't want him to see the script. Therefore, they recast him. They recast Pinhead with Shithead, and you got the abomination that was Hellraiser Revelations in 2011. And a lot of my kind of thinking, I think that partially Doug Bradley took this as like a big fuck you to them. And I want this paycheck and I could still do fun, stupid horror movies. But man, I wish he hadn't have picked this one. This is really fucking bad. Yeah, Aiden, I fucking hope he got paid well. I hope so too, man. He's one of the last people at conventions who will actually do free selfies and pics and stuff like that. Like, I think that's super cool of him, man. I love Doug Bradley. He's one of the last like really cool people to meet at a convention. Demons 1 and 2 are dumb fun films. Totally. I bet you really like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 then. Believe it or not, I like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 far better. I like the return to the exploitation design. I always have. And I know a lot of people will say Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 is garbage, but I like the return to form. I like that it's more serious. I like Ken Foree's character. You an army man? Only on the weekends. I love that. I love Kate Hodge as the final girl. I think she's an excellent final girl. I like the family. I like Ari Meeloff as Leatherface. I really like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is a big cult film. I'm not as per se that into the cult, but I do enjoy the film. I don't dislike the movie. I just think it's slightly overrated. I think people have over time really given that movie a lot of credit. And I like that Toby Hooper changed it because there's no way you can really do a sequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So he decided to make it into a black comedy. I thought that was genius. And I think for what that movie is, it really does work. What did you think about Invisible Man 2020? Honestly, haven't seen it. I've only seen clips. I think Leigh Whannell is a fantastic filmmaker. I think he's a great writer. Really like his style, and I think his approach to the genre is really cool. I like Leigh Whannell a lot. I'm hoping that he keeps doing more horror stuff. I'm hoping he does more original stuff, though. Like, definitely, I hope they keep giving him jobs because I think he does an excellent job. It's amazing how much he learned behind James Wan being his writing partner for all those years, behind the directing camera, and he was able to make, from what most tell me, is an awesome horror movie. I just haven't seen it. I don't know. I'm sure it's fine. I really like The Lodge. I know that's a 2020 horror movie that a lot of people like. Invisible Man's the one a lot of people bring up. I love The Lodge personally. That was like my favorite horror movie of last year. Doug Bradley, man, we get into Wrong Turn 5 here. I mean, this movie is literally just like a bad play. Like, everything you can tell is a set. Everything you can fucking tell is just so poorly done, even more so than the previous film. At least they had a location. I think Wrong Turn 4 was actually shot in an actual mental, like an abandoned mental asylum, which is cool. That's really cool. You have, to me, to add atmosphere and to add a genuine atmosphere to your film, you have to shoot on location. That's a really, really big part of it. This movie, they just decided, fuck it, we're going to just try to make it look like elsewhere. And it just completely fails. It's really shitty looking movie. And man, the characters are, I'm convinced, on purposely fucking stupid in this movie. This one, I think the reason that even my friend Brian was saying this is his favorite one after the second, that it's trying to be bad. Like, this one really embraces it more so than 3 and 4. I guess so. I'll be honest, this was a trek to fucking revisit for me. I had an absolute shit show rewatching this. You have this one dumbass deputy sheriff lady who's talking with Doug Bradley. He's threatening to rape her, rip her eyes out, all this shit. She doesn't do shit. The guy's in a cell. I just, oh my God, you have one guy that gets run over by a fucking like lawnmower thing, more CGI. Oh God, man. I don't even know what to say. I really just don't know what to say about Wrong Turn 5, man. It's just a total piece of shit. Have you seen Haunting of Hill House or Bly Manor? No, I haven't seen any of that either. I do not have Netflix. I have a lot of Amazon Prime, big Amazon Prime guy. Um, but no, I'm much more as of lately. I've just been watching a lot of older stuff. Like I've been getting a lot of like Severin releases, stuff like that. I got Fulci for Fake in the mail. That was a really, really good horror documentary. I've been lately collecting some of the Criterion stuff. And I don't know, as of lately, that's kind of the stuff I've been watching. I watched Funny Games on Criterion the other night. Just one of the best horror movies of all time, in my opinion. Definitely one of the best horror movies of the 1990s. Funny Games. I love that film. I have to do a graveyard on it. Um, but yeah, Wrong Turn 5, man. I don't even know what to fucking say. It's just same shit, different day. They were insistent on bringing this director back over and over and over again because for whatever reason they liked the product he was spitting out. I just think that there's something about these movies that I just don't like. I don't like the tone. I don't like the sense of humor. I don't really particularly like the death scenes. And I think the characters, while they're purposely fucking bad, it's just like, why should I watch this? There's no desire for me to watch any of these for past part two because they're all just so poorly made. Doug Bradley just trying to do his best. He does have fun in the role. I will say that. I like Doug Bradley, always have, always will. But I don't know. It feels like to me that he really did do this for a paycheck. And like Aiden said, I hope he got paid. I really hope he got paid good because man, this holy shit. Like I don't know. I fucking horrible, man. Uh, I don't even know what to say. I can't. I don't even know. It's just such bullshit. It's a fucking piece of shit movie, and I'm glad that this is the last that this Declan shithead directed because man, I don't like his filmmaking at all. He went on to direct the prestigious Joyride 3 Roadkill, which I believe we all know is also a piece of shit. So I hope he never directs again, so I'll never have to see one of his movies again because he is a thumbs down for me, dog. That's gonna be a no from me, dog. I hate Wrong Turn 5 as well. I don't even know what to say about it. Like I'm just burned out of talking about shitty Wrong Turn sequels made by Declan O'Brien. I'm gonna give this one another solid 2.5 out of 10. I absolutely hate these three. It's crazy. These three movies together, if you combined them, get a fucking 7 out of 10. So that's not higher than what I gave this film as one film or this film. So these two movies together are way miles better than 3, 4, and 5. And I guess that brings us to part 6. Although Buried Hatchet Productions said, definitely recommend them. Got to go have a good rest of the stream. God bless, brother. Thank you so much. Appreciate you checking out the show. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That brings us to Wrong Turn 6, which finally, our Lord and Savior heard my prayers and they ditched Declan O'Brien. I don't know whose decision it was. I don't know whose call it was, but I'm so fucking happy that they dropped that scumbag piece of shit. I'm so glad they dropped him. Thank you. I appreciate it. In turn, they hire Miss Valerie Milev, who I've never fucking heard of until I looked up her filmography. She made one of the 5th series of After Dark Horror Fest films, which, of course, that was, of all the years, that was probably the worst one, considering it was like there was like a 6-year layoff between 09 and 2015. But Rekill, hers was probably the best one of that series. So that's pretty cool. I will be honest, I had never seen this before I did the show prep for this, and I was thinking, who knows? It's not directed by Declan O'Brien, and it's from a director who I like the other films that she did that I saw. How bad could it be? The answer, fucking very bad. Like, this is, oh man, this is just maddening right here. Wrong Turn 6, I can read the synopsis. An inheritance leads a young man and his friends to an abandoned resort inhabited by two sketchy caretakers and a clan of mutant cannibals. Yes. So, whereas Wrong Turn 1, 2, and I threw 3 over in the fucking corner. Whereas Turn 1, 2, and 3 are a trilogy. 4, 5, and technically 6, I guess, are prequels. However, Wrong Turn 6 doesn't take place anywhere in this timeline for it to make sense. Like, 4 is apparently the beginning. You see the scene in the asylum. Granted, it still makes no sense because they're adults for the rest of the film. It's just that for that opening scene. Wrong Turn 5 is right after Wrong Turn 4. And then this movie, I don't know where this takes place. Makes no sense because the character doesn't have like iPads, GoPros, iPhones. So fucking this movie takes place in modern day, but somehow takes place after these films in Wrong Turn 3. Like, I don't know. This is like one of those situations where they totally fucked up the continuity. Like whoever produced this didn't give a fuck, was just like, hey, go make a Wrong Turn film, do whatever the fuck you want with it. And she was like, sure, I'll take these 3 antagonists from 4 and 5 and 1 and 2, and fuck it, I'll just make my own movie with them without any. So that confuses you right off the bat because it's not really, it's almost like a reboot of itself, but again, it's Wrong Turn 6. So you think it'd have some kind of continuity. It doesn't. So don't watch this thinking it's going to have any type of continuity. It's a bunch of idiots running a hotel. It's a boring fucking film. There are not too many good memorable scenes. There is one decent death scene where this girl, she's riding a bike and she drives into this barbed wire and her eyes are covered by it. That's practically done. I liked that. There's one scene, there's one death scene in this movie that literally I got up and fucking howled laughing. I nearly fucking pissed myself. There's this guy and they're like holding him down, and Three Finger, he's got the fucking fire hose and he decides to turn it all the way up and shove it up this guy's ass. And then you see his fucking stomach just starts like expanding until it fucking bursts from this fucking fire hose. I don't know what the fuck. That, like, I didn't enjoy it, but man, it was just so like, I just got up, what the fuck did I get myself into, man? This is bonkers. I can't, man. I can't even explain. Like, when I saw that, I was just like, Wrong Turn 6. All right, Valerie. All right, Val. You fucking shoving fire hoses up people's asses and having their tummies explode. What the fuck? Absolutely mind-blowing scene. But I don't know. I guess some people would enjoy it. I guess it was entertaining. I was entertained by that part. But most of the rest of this is pretty dull. They kind of go the whole, incest route where they're trying to infer that this is how the family maybe from Wrong Turn 2 started. But again, this takes place after Wrong Turn 2, so it doesn't make any fucking sense. But I guess you have to suspend a little bit of disbelief. You get fucking like one of the clan in this, he's perfectly normal. Like he looks like Abercrombie and Fitch model, and he's not a fucking mutated hillbilly. How? How the hell did that happen? How the hell do you have 3 fucking mutant inbred motherfuckers, and then you have this guy who looks like he's fucking advertising underwear for Calvin Klein? How the fuck does that happen? Can somebody explain it to me? And also, in this, like, they have an origin story for the cannibals, and in this, they claim that it was chemicals. And then in like part 3 in this one, it's just like, oh no, incest, inbreeding. That's it, Like, this series is so fucking jumbled when it comes to the origin of these motherfuckers. Like, Wrong Turn 4, they insinuate that they're all psychotic. One of them bit off his fingers. One of them took his own eye out. Well, I'm like, no, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what was the point of giving them backstory in this and you never followed through with it on any of them before or after this? It's just, oh God, it's just fucking poorly done. Yeah, this one, it goes way up the incest route, and like it's just fucking really tedious to watch. I thought the Wrong Turn people in a hotel, how could this not be good? It's crazy because on paper, a lot of these sound good. Wrong Turn 3, 4, and 6 on paper sound great to me. Like, hell, even 5 with the whole festival, the Halloween festival. All 4 of those movies on paper sound that could work. That could be really good. The problem is you didn't have the right director for any of those films. And whereas I think Valerie is a better filmmaker than Declan O'Brien because he fucking stinks. Whereas I think she had a better DOP for sure. The movie looks like a real movie. It doesn't look like a sci-fi original fucking wipe your ass with it film. But at the end of the day, too, it's still a mess. It's not a good film either. There is some bad, poor fucking CGI in this as well. But I will say I can give it a little bit more of a merit because of the mess that came before it. Like, to me, the fact that she said, hey, I'll take the antagonists, but I'm going to make this completely my own. Right there and then, I respect her. I respect that she said, fuck that. I ain't doing what that motherfucker just did. Granted, it's not a good movie. It's far from a good movie. I believe it's the lowest rated wrong turn in IMDb, which you can take that with a grain of salt. But I don't know, man. I definitely it's a poor film. It's not even I can't give it a pass or anything. But for some reason, after watching 3, 4, and 5, I considered 6 at least some kind of a relief from the bullshit I had just been watching. I just may not like Declan O'Brien. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe some people will like that style. I don't know. My good buddy Steve, who he told me he might watch this. So hi to Steve if he's watching. He told me that he really likes all of them. He likes all the Wrong Turn movies. I don't even think he had seen part 6, but he likes 1 through 5. So maybe, just maybe, there are fans out there of 3, 4, and 5. I am just certainly not one of them because, man, I just really enjoy the first 2. But Wrong Turn 6, man, I don't know. I just think it opens a lot of doors, but at the end of the day, it doesn't execute them very well. Valerie Malev, I'll give you an A for effort, sister, but I got to give your movie a fucking F. You did a pretty poor job, unfortunately. So I will come in at the solid. I hate to keep using this fucking rating. Is there anything I could really say is better about this movie than 4 and 5? I don't know. I don't even know. I want to say 2.5 again, but part of me wants to say 3. I'm going to say 2.5 again. I think that's the proper rating. 2.5 again for Wrong Turn 6. Total fucking piece of shit, too, in my opinion. But I guess a slightly more enjoyable to me just because it wasn't made by that shithead Declan O'Brien. So it's what it is. So that is Wrong Turn 6. And then now we can get into the trailer, my thoughts on the trailer, and then I could just wrap it up with a whole ranking for the Wrong Turn films. Of course, this trailer, I think a couple months ago, maybe, oh man, I want to say late November, early December, this trailer hit, the Wrong Turn 2021 trailer. I'll admit, when I first saw this trailer, I thought, like, this is interesting. Number one, it looks like it has a money and a budget behind it. Number two, looks like it's going back to the original roots, back to being scary exploitation. That's cool. The one thing that does throw me about the trailer, and I've read some reviews, not any spoiler reviews, so I don't know what happens in the film. However, it's heavily implied in the trailer and in most of the reviews that they get away from our main antagonist from the other 6 movies. I don't know, like I haven't seen the film, so I can't really comment too much, but my only question is how and where do you go with that if they're not the fucking villains, because that's Wrong Turn. Like, it's fucking strange to me. Like, that's like doing it's hard to think of an example of this. Here's a perfect example. That's like doing a reboot of Dawn of the Dead without zombies as the antagonists. Like, what do you like? I don't get that. Like, what is the point then? However, they brought Alan B. McElroy back to right whatever wrong, pun intended, I guess. Granted, I didn't even mean it, but wrong turn that this film may have taken. I don't know what his problem is with this, but apparently the reason they made this, other than obviously money and rebooting and whatnot, was Alan B. McElroy felt that this story was never properly told and he wanted it to be properly told. So he wanted more creative control. Thus, you get the 2021 film that resulted. I haven't seen it yet, so it sucks because they moved it back on me on VOD. I looked everywhere for streams, but I could not find it anywhere. I apologize to all of you for that. But I don't know. I'm very interested and intrigued, not as a fan of the series, because honestly, I haven't been happy with a movie in this series since the second film. So I don't, I'm not holding my breath. I'm sure, I guarantee you, it will probably be better than 3 through 6. I mean, just based on the fact that it has a budget and probably decent acting. But I don't know. I just, part of me questions, like, how do you do this without the three antagonists? Like, how do you do a reboot of this without any hillbilly hitchhiking, whatever. I just don't. I'm kind of surprised. I don't really get where they go from there. The trailer looks decent. I'm interested, intrigued. I definitely have some predictions. I won't mention them on here, but I think it's very interesting. Matthew Modine's in the film. It's fucking strange. Granted, his career has pretty much become direct to DVD now. I mean, he's done this shitty Stallone film. I think it was called Backtrace. I mean, Matthew Modine's career has just totally hit the shitter. Everybody always mentions Full Metal Jacket. Well, that came out like 30 fucking years ago. So his career has pretty much hit rock bottom. I don't know. I will see the new one when it comes out. I may just buy the Blu-ray. Fuck it. I bought Wrong Turn 3 and 4 on DVD, so why the fuck not give the Foundation a chance on Blue? Um, but I don't know, man. I have high hopes and low hopes at the same time. It's one of those, I'm more intrigued to see what they do with the antagonist as opposed to seeing the movie itself. Because I've seen this movie. I've seen it. I've seen your original Wrong Turn, if you will, and I really like this movie. I don't know what you really could have done much better other than take chances. And then the second film kind of did that. So where do you really go from here? Whereas every single other movie on paper sounded like it was going to be really well done and had potential ultimately to pretty much squander it. I don't know, because this one to me honestly sounds the least interesting on paper, this new one. Oh, it's a group of friends going to the woods. Okay, get back to the basics. I get that. But if they're not going to encounter the lead villains, what are they going to encounter? That's my big question. If the answer is something really cool, I'm all for it. And if it's well done, if it's well directed, Mike P. Nelson is the director. He also made The Domestics, which is a really, really good film starring Kate Bosworth. I really like her as an actress, and I think that's a pretty decent film. So I definitely am going to give it a shot. I'm excited for that. I think they got a capable filmmaker who's much better than fucking Declan Shithead and Valerie Milev, whatever. But I don't know, man. Part of me at the end of the day, if I had to make a prediction, I still think it'll have nothing on these two. I really do. I'm old school. I like this era of the genre, the early 2000s, even some of the direct to DVD stuff from the mid 2000s. I thought some of that stuff was well done because, again, it was filmmakers that did not have that much money but had to use creativity, had to use gore, and had to change things up. And I think Joe Lynch did that with the second film really well. So I don't know. I'm intrigued. But at the end of the day, I will say I definitely still think these two will stand tall. That's my prediction. Don't know. I won't know until February, but that's when I will definitely give a review of it and I can let you know my full, unfiltered thoughts. So, yeah, I guess we could wrap up there unless anybody has any questions for me or anything like that. We had plenty of people in the house tonight. I appreciate you all tuning in. Aiden says, I never bother with Wrong Turn 6 because of 3, 4, and 5. It seems like I'm not missing much. No, you're not. It's honestly, it's a poor fucking film. I will say though that like I liked that it looked like an actual movie as opposed to 3, 4, and 5. Like 6 actually doesn't look as cheap. Like, I don't know here. I could look up quickly what the budget was for part 6 because it didn't look as cheap to me for some reason. Like, it looked capable in some spots, even though it was not good by any means. Like, I'm trying to give it a credit, but it's still at the same time it sounds like I'm insulting it because I sort of am. How about this? 1.2 million. It had less of a budget than 3, 4, and 5 because 3, 4, and 5 all had a budget of 2 million. Wrong Turn 6 had 1.2 million, and I think looks of those three looks the best. Like it looks the most like a film to me, like a theatrical movie, that's pretty incredible. It doesn't look cheap at all to me. The Domestics is a cool film. The director deserves more work. I don't have high hopes for Wrong Turn 2021, but let's hope it's good. Yeah, I hope so too, to be honest, man. I think that in a lot of ways, it's a reboot that nobody asked for, but in a lot of ways, if this is, if Alan B. McElroy really was upset with this is his chance to set the record straight. I just think like loyalty in me and the fan that I am of this movie, I don't know if he can really top this. Like, I'd be interested to see, but I don't know. I've been wrong before. I'm definitely more excited for that reboot than the countless other ones. I'm not as excited for fucking Scream 5 or the next two Halloweens or anything like that. Like, I guess because I know what those movies are going to be more so than this new Wrong Turn. I think that's the interesting thing is the wild card element. It's not just going to be the same shit, different day. It looks like they changed a lot of shit. The question is, did they change it for the better? That's my big question. Because if they changed it for the worse, then you fixed something that has been broken since part three, but you could have just easily left it alone. I don't know. I'm the same way with you, man. I don't have high hopes either, but I do have curiosity, and the whole saying may remain true. Curiosity may have killed the cat, but I don't know, man. After Wrong Turn 6 and shoving a fire hose up somebody's ass and having their stomach explode, and fucking Wrong Turn 4, where they had the antagonist locked in a cell, ready to kill them after their friend had been eating like cheese fondue and they didn't decide to do shit. I don't know. I don't think it could be much worse than those fucking movies. Wrong Turn 5, where Doug Bradley's just literally cutting a promo the entire movie. Fucking horrible, man. I don't know. I don't think it could be worse than those. I have a feeling Scream 5 is going to be mediocre or bad. Yeah, pretty much. It will be mediocre. People will put it over. The true fans will fucking call it out for what it is. That's kind of what I think about that. I don't like, I'll be honest, I like Scream 4. I thought Scream 4 was a really good movie. But what people, all these motherfucking marks that are going on about Scream 5, nobody really went to see 4. 4 was kind of a flop. It didn't smash box office records when it came out. It came out right in the hype of the Paranormal Activity train, where the third film, I believe, was coming out at the time. And that really, they came out close, and I think that kicked Scream 4's ass. And that's probably why they dropped the 4. They probably thought, oh, the 4 is why it didn't make money. Maybe it is. I don't know. I just personally, I'm like, really? Like, all the money we could have spent to do something else. Like, take that budget and make something original. Give Joe Lynch a fucking job. Bring Rob Schmidt back. Where is Rob Schmidt? I think he's an awesome filmmaker. I don't get why he fell off the face of the earth. Some guy who really gets the genre, who really liked tough female leads, who understood how to build tension and play it safe with old school exploitation elements. Why is he the guy that doesn't get jobs anymore? Yet Declan O'Brien was able to direct 3 of these fucking movies. 3 of them. That's a joke. How the fuck was Rob Schmidt never called back to make one of these Wrong Turn sequels? I see a lot of filmmakers, and again, Joe Lynch, how is he not picked to direct countless movies that came after this? It's just baffling, man. I don't know. I don't have any faith in Scream 5 either. I don't. It's just same shit, different day. How can we get the Marks money? We're banking off establishment. Just let that shit die, man. Let Scream die. Let Halloween die. Let it die. Just let it die. Let's move the fuck on and find new things to get excited about. Scream 4 is a really good film. It's sad that it was Wes Craven's final film, but he left on a good note as opposed to My Soul Did Take. I can't imagine that being that. I believe was the last film he had written. I'm sorry, that was the last film he had wrote. It's My Soul Did Take, which was crazy. But yeah, no, I like that he ended on Scream 4 too. He ended on a high note, and I'll forever respect Wes. Another big thing about Scream 5, you can't do it without Wes Craven. I get that the why those films work is Kevin Williamson. And I even like, oh God, what's his name? I think his last name's, the guy that wrote part 3. I can't think of his damn name. Is Aaron Kruger? I think that's his name. The writing is really why those films work, and the whole meta aspect of it and the self-awareness. But Wes knew how to direct good horror too, and he knew how to make some of the suspense and chase scenes and stuff like that. He knew how to add the tension there. He was a good captain for that ship as long as Kevin Williamson, Eric Kruger, whoever was calling the shots at the writers' table. I think that's why that dynamic worked, and that's why most of the all four Scream films I like. I like Scream 1 through 4. I don't really have a big Scream 2. I think is the weakest probably. Scream 4 is definitely second weakest, but I think that they're all passable. They're all decent enough movies. But without Wes, man, I don't know. I just don't. And you got the directors that did Devil's Due. Eh, I know they just came off that horror comedy Ready or Not, which people just jizzed over. They loved that movie. Um, I personally, I just wasn't like, I saw the trailer of that and I was just like, I've seen this. It looks like another You're Next, which I didn't like that either. So I don't know. I just completely wasn't in the mood for it. Granted, it might be a well done film, and maybe I remember they did also the segment in the first VHS I liked the best, the end segment with the friends at the Halloween party, and they save the girl. I liked that segment. So they've been hit and miss, right? Devil's Due, total miss. The VHS segment, a total hit, and then Ready or Not was a big hit with people who went to go see it. So maybe they are the right choices. I can't remember their names, but I don't know. I just think it's hard to do that without Wes. I think I would have just let it die. Do the TV show if you must, even though that wasn't good either. But I don't know. I just think these franchises need to go, man. At this point, it's just a little bit overkill, a little bit oversaturation. But I don't know. That's my humble opinion. But yeah, I guess we could do a quick ranking of these before I head off here. Um, Coming in at the bottom is going to be Wrong Turn 3. I threw it across the room. I fucking hate that movie. Man, this is where it gets tough because these next three movies I've ranked all at a 2.5. I'll say 5 next. That's the next worst. Then, wow, 4 or 6. I guess, yeah, no, 4 pissed me off too much. Then 4, then 6, then 1, then Wrong Turn 2. That would be how I would rank it. But like there would be like Wrong Turn 2, Wrong Turn 1, 50 feet of shit, AIDS, Wrong Turn 6, all the way down to the bottom. Like that's how that shit would go. That would how the hierarchy ranking would be. Like it was a long fucking journey to get from Wrong Turn 1 to the next shitty one. Like it's just, I don't know, pretty brutal. But yeah, with that said, I guess we will wrap up the show here tonight. I want to thank everybody, especially the newcomers. I appreciate both Frank and what was the other guy's name? Butcher Productions, right? Buried Hatchet Productions. That's right. Thank you guys, newcomers. Aiden, of always. God bless. I appreciate you checking out the stream. Yeah, 2-1. The rest don't exist. I agree, man. I'm good. To me, this as a double feature kicked ass. I loved watching these back to back. Had a really, really fun time. And I may do that down the road again. I definitely will. I'll tell you what I definitely won't do. Watch Wrong Turn, any Wrong Turn after that, except I guess the new one, because out of curiosity's sake. But that is going to be all for the show tonight. I'm thinking this might be a little controversial, but I don't know. I might as well just say I've been thinking about it. Teen Titans. I've been rewatching the original Teen Titans series. I was thinking of doing a graveyard on each season of Teen Titans, so seasons 1 through 5, and like ranking each episode. I thought that would be a lot of fun to do. If people are interested in that, please let me know. Because I'm leaning towards doing it. And I don't get me wrong, I love doing horror, and I'm going to continue to do horror. I just think that it would be really fun to discuss that because that's one of my favorite shows of all time. So yeah, I'm leaning towards maybe doing a few season episodes of that. So if you guys think that sounds cool, I totally will be doing it. If not, I still probably will, but I don't know. I figured it was fair warning. I will be back, though. I will be back and better than ever, as always, guys. So I appreciate it again. Thank you guys all for watching, checking out the show tonight. Much respect to all of you. Cheers to the weekend. Stay safe, stay creepy, and we will catch you next time only on the Graveyard. Don't take a wrong turn this weekend. Don't take a wrong turn down Left 4 Dead or Bloody Beginnings or Bloodlines or fucking Last Resort. Don't take any of those wrong turns. Take the right turns. Take the right turns with Wrong Turns 1 and 2. Simple advice can save your lives. I'll catch you all later. Too sweet, peace, and have a wonderful weekend, everybody.